Okay, so today we're going to read 83 from our condensed Devi Bhagavatam retold by Ramesh Menon. So Sutta is speaking here. Remember, Sutta is the one who got to hear the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam when Veda Vyasa was teaching it to his son, Sukadeva. And so now Sutta has gone to the Anisa, whatever that place is called, the special place where Brahma told the rishis to stay during the Kali Yuga. So he showed up and said, they asked him to read this book, the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam to them. And I made a mistake. He's not reading it, he's reciting it. In those days, they knew it all in their hearts. Yeah. So Sutta said, he's telling the story to the rishis. He's telling the story about Janamejaya, King Janamejaya, who Vedavyasa was helping and teaching and read and recited the whole Devi Bhagavatam to him. So Sutta said, King Janamejaya asked Vedavyasa, Muni, why has bhakti reigned in the world of men? In the world of men. So Vedavyasa replied, it was from Shiva's ancient curse and the Rishi Gautama's curse. It makes it that in this Kali Yuga, the Brahmanas of the world would be born without the inner knowledge of the Vedas and the Sangyas, and that since they were the upholders of Dharma in the world, Dharma would decay. And so would the spirits of men dwindle. Janamejaya asked, tell me a little more about Mani Dvipa, where the Devi dwells. Vedavyasa said, the Shrutis and the Sabalopanishad speak of the Sarva Loka, which is higher than Brahma Loka. This, O king, is Mani Dvipa, where the Devi Bhagavati lives. The shadow of this loftiest realm falls over the rest of the Bhagavati, over the rest of the universe and removes its sins. I love that.
Progress.
So he says the Mani Dvipa, where the Divine Mother lives, the shadow of this loftiest realm falls over the rest of the universe and removes its sins. The Sudha Sagara surrounds Mani Dvipa, and the lords of the four seasons dwell on the perimeter of that most auspicious world with their consorts and with countless other beings and creatures, all enraptured by the very air of the transcendent isle. Also the lords of the different quarters of the universe, the Dikpalas, dwell on Mani Dvipa with their consorts. All these are the masters of the universe who live under the Devi Bhagavati's grace. The Devas and consorts too, in their most pristine form, dwell nowhere but here with the Devi. The Apsaras, the Gandharvas, the Kanaras, cities, and all others. The 64 Kalas dwell here as well. Each one powerful enough to lick up 1,000 Brahmadas with their lolling tongues. Past them lives Sri Bhuvaneshwari Devi, then the Matrika Brahmi, Maheshwari, Kumari, Vaishnavi, Varhari, Indrani, Chamunda, and Mahalakshmi. Still nearer the heart of Mani Dvipa, there is a great lotus of 16 petals, and the Devi Bhagavati's 16 Shaktis live on splendid, incomparable petal. Beyond this, the Devi's 8 Shaktis, her companions, dwell. Still near the heart of Mani Dvipa, four-faced Brahma lives with Gayatri Devi, Vishnu with Savitri Devi, and Maharudra with Saraswati Devi. All their endless avatars who rule the myriad universes dwell here with them. And then there is a palace at the very heart of the Manidvipa, a palace made of Chintamani and with an infinity of pillars and rooms. There are 4 mantapas within these peerless palace, the peerless palace. The Sringata Mantapa, the Mukti Mantapa, Jnana Mantapa, and the Ekanta Mantapa. The Devi Bhagavati, the Mula Prakriti, the goddess of all gods and goddesses, dwells here. But mostly, she is the Chintamani Gira, and her bhaktas from all the ages and from every part of the universe are here with her in everlasting bliss. Why attempt, O king, to describe that mandala, which is past my power of description, save to say that it is the loftiest jewel in the universe where the Devi Bhagavati lives. King Janamejaya grew humble. He said, I beg you, O Guru, give me Diksha, bless me, teach me the Devi's Mula mantra. Let me perform the Navratri Puja in the name of the Devi Bhagavati. And the Muni Veda Vyasa did teach that sad king the blessed Devi's mantra, and King Janamejaya, the Kuru, Parikshita's son, performed the Navaratri Puja in his father's name. So you remember his father was bit by a snake because he had insulted the king. So that's why Janamejaya is so sad, because he knows his father's in hell. So his son did go ahead and do the Navaratri Puja in his father's name. As the ritual was ending, he saw a path grow lucid in the sky, and down it, Vedavyasa saw a smiling, brilliant Devarishi fly down right to the king's side. King Janamejaya folded his hands to the immortal wanderer, for it was Narada who came to his puja. The king took the auspicious dust from the Muni's feet, and he said, Mahamuni, my Navaratri puja is thrice blessed that you have come here. But tell me, Narada, why have you come? Is there anything I can do for you? Devarishi Narada said, smiling blithely, I came to tell you of a wonderful thing I saw in Devaloka today, Janamejaya. O Kshatra, I saw your father, Parikshita, and he had a body of light and grace, and he was flying up from Yama's realm into the Lord's Indras and beyond in a Pushpak Vimana aerial car. All the devas were singing his praises, and he sat in heavens. I heard that he was on his way to the Manidvipa, where the Devi dwells. And I heard the reason that he had been forgiven of the sin he had committed was that you kept the Navratri Vrata, and that you heard the Devi Bhagavatam from the Muni Veda Vyasa. King Janamejaya, you have delivered your father from hell, and your name is being whispered throughout the Deva Loka. Janamejaya trembled with delight. He prostrated himself at Vedavyasa's feet, and tears of joy flowed down his face. The king cried, Vyasa Guru, you have blessed me. I beg you, let your blessings always be upon me. Vedavyasa said kindly to the king, it is the Devi who blessed you, Janamejaya. Her Purana saved your father's soul. So worship Devi Bhagavati and keep her Purana near you and read it always. Bless me, Lord, that I may, said Janamejaya. Vedavyasa, Narada, and the other holy ones who had gathered there to hear the incomparable Devi Bhagavatam all laid their palms in blessing on the king's head, and then they left. Sutta then said to the rishis of the Naimisavana, Sutta now ended his ancient legend of revelation. O Munis, in time out of mind, near the very beginning, this precious Devi Bhagavatam emerged from the Devi Bhagavati's own face as half a sloka, and it was the epitome of the conclusion to all the Vedas. She said this half sloka wistfully to Vishnu, who lay upon his people leaf at the kalpa's end, upon the single sea of dissolution. So now we're going to go back to that story so that we can refresh it in our minds as we finish the Devi Bhagavatam. Because I personally think it's a beautiful story. It's a very powerful Mula mantra. So this is in about 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs down on page 24. And it's in about a sentence or two. So now this is the story of when the Divine Mother gave this special mantra that eventually became the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. Once at the end of the Kalpa, when the universe lay dissolved, Vishnu lay upon the ocean of eternity as a small child. He lay on a floating peepal leaf and wondered, who has created me a child? Who am I? A voice spoke to him from the sky. All that I see is myself. Only I am eternal. The child wondered who spoke. Narayana, the child, began to chant the mantra the voice had spoken. All that I see is myself. Only I am eternal. Suddenly the Devi Bhagavati appeared before him as Mahalakshmi. Vishnu was astonished to see the exquisite goddess standing on the water at his side. He saw her Shaktis around her, Rati, Bhuti, Buddhi, Kirti, Smriti, Dhruti, Shraddha, Meda, Swada, Swaha, Kusoda, Nidra, Daya, Gati, Tushti, Pushti, Shama, Laja, Trimba, Tandra, and the rest. All the Devis wielded divine weapons and had dazzling forms. They wore wonderful raiments and were adorned with unearthly ornaments. Vishnu was perplexed. Where had the woman appeared from? Who was he that lay on this peepal leaf on an endless sea? Is the Devi my mother? Wondered Vishnu. Or some sorceress? Why has she appeared here now? Lakshmi Devi smiled at the infant Vishnu and said, have you forgotten me, my lord? But there have been countless pralayas before this one, and countless times you have lain exactly thus on this leaf, and I appeared as I am now before you. You have forgotten. When you and I are one, Brahma will be born again from the lotus that grows from your navel. He will sit in Dhyan for 1,000 lotus counts of years and then begin to create. First, he will emit the 3 realms, Swarga, Bhumi, and Patala. Then he will make 5 elements in the universe from them. You, Vishnu, will preserve the universe. Then Shiva will leap from Brahma's brow howling. After a fervid tapasya, Shiva is given the Samhara Shakti with which he destroys the universe. Then another kalpa ends. I've come so we can begin this new kalpa. Take me unto you to be your Vaishnavi Shakti. Vishnu said, beautiful one, who spoke that mantra I heard earlier? I'm obsessed with the need to know, even as a poor man is with wealth. Lakshmi Devi answered him, it was the Adi Shakti, the cause of causes, that spoke to you. The Divine Mother must be very pleased with you that she taught you the mantra that is the seed of the Puranas. Cherish that mantra in your heart like your own life. At this point, Vishnu began once more to murmur that mantra the Devi had given him. Brahma was astonished and asked, whom do you worship? Vishnu, you are the highest God. Vishnu replied, the Adi Shakti, the Devi, upon whom the sea rests, who is the source, who is its source, and mine as well. This mantra is the beach of the Devi Purana, which will come to be as the kalpas unfold. As Brahma sat in his golden lotus, he too began to recite Devi's Bij mantra. Later, Brahma taught the mantra to his son Narada, who taught it to me. It is from this secret, fathomless mantra that I have wrought, like the mystic, the mystic Devi Bhagavatam. Imbibe that Purana, and darkness will leave your heart, and a sun of wisdom will rise over your life. So that's the Mula Mantra. I'll read it one more time by this translation. All that I see is myself. Only I am eternal. So we'll go on reading, if I can find my way back.
Pardon me, Ramloti, that's in English, yeah,
it's
the
probably,
mantra.
It's probably in the Devi Bhagavatam, but it's in Devanagari or whatever it's called. I can't read it.
Yeah, beyond.
I repeat it in English, and it's pretty powerful for me.
Okay. So it's not, what is the language? It's not Sanskrit, what is it?
No, it's would be in Sanskrit, but the way it's written is not in our letters. It's written in what they call the fancy word letters, like you see on your Om Namah Shivaya.
Got it.
Okay. So we're back to page 513 as we complete this. The second or third to the last paragraph. And at hearing those resonant syllables, this is, once again, we're talking, Sutta is talking about the Mula Mantra. And at hearing those resonant syllables in a tongue that was the very universe and the face of she, who is the mother, and inspired Brahma expanded the sacred half sloka into 100 billion slokas in a few moments. But most of them are no longer available in a world that has become too impure for their revelation in it. That pristine Devi Bhagavatam was verily the universe and all that is in it. It is still heard, sung, and read in the Deva Loka. Vedavyasa wanted his son Sukadeva to hear the Devi Bhagavatam, and so Vedavyasa condensed Brahma's awesome Purana into a mere 18,000 slokas. There is no other Purana, even a 16th part as powerful as the Devi Bhagavatam. Every line of it you read yields the fruit of performing a few Ashrameda yagyas. And if you write it with your own hand, there is no doubt, Munis, you will find the realm of the Devi for yourself, and her grace as if she laid her palm on your head and blessed you. Hearing the sacred Purana will make ashes of many lives of sins and confer everything you desire upon you. Lakshmi and Saraswati dwell in the home where the Devi Bhagavatam is kept and read. No evil spirit can even cast a sidelong glance at a bhakta of the Divine Mothers. Who reads just a chapter of this Purana regularly quickly acquires true knowledge. If it is read during the Navratri or the Durga Puja, the Devi blesses that one who reads or hears it many times over. Om, I bow to the Devi, Gayatri, whose nature is Hrim, who is Satchitananda, being intelligence and bliss, who is the cause of all causes and ours as well. Here the blessed Sutta ended the Devi Bhagavatam. The rishis of the Namisavana prostrated themselves before him in gratitude, for he had told them the entire Devi Bhagavatam, and they could feel its grace inside their bodies, within their hearts. They could see its subtle light, the light of truth upon themselves and each other. They felt as if they were feathers afloat on the great wind of the Devi's love. I've written that one down too. I've been reading that lately. It's so beautiful. They felt as if they were feathers afloat on the great wind of the Devi's love. Sutta the Great blessed those munis and then went his mysterious way through deep jungles over jagged mountains full of the Brahman, and only God and he knew where else, into which other realms, taking his invaluable treasure of the Puranas with him. And the other rishis who heard the immortal Devi Bhagavatam from his lips in time became immortal themselves. They became the Devi. They were absorbed into her. They lived with her forever after. Om Tat Sat, Om Shanti, 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 Om, Om Hari Om. Beautiful ending to a story, huh? I just love that part. Anyway.
Om Tat Sat. The truth, right? That's the truth.
That's the truth. So anybody have any comments or questions?
So when does Navaratri start?
Navratri starts, I think, on the 3rd of April. It begins on,
Oh, it's great. Okay.
on a Saturday. Shivaratri is the 1st of March, I believe. So yeah, everything's a few weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll all be sure to do our Devi Bhagavatam. We'll read our Devi Bhagavatam during our Navratri for sure.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
So yeah, we're so blessed. Any questions or
Well,
comments?
I guess I've never, I know with Annie Pace at one point we used to read during Navaratri, but I have to say, is there a recommendation of how, where and how, when, during that time? Because it's obviously you're not going to get through it, but, or I'm not.
I'll be reading it every day. So the schedule in Navratri is we do the Devi Puja in the morning, and I live stream the Devi Puja. I don't live stream this. Then you should read the Saptasati if you have time, which is recorded on YouTube. And then we have the fire ceremony, and then we come in and usually I think chant first and then do the discourse. So there'll be a discourse. That's what we've done forever here.
But do you choose the discourse, just whatever? Yeah. Okay.
Just some stories that seem to make sense to people in, in a 20-minute segment. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Same. Beautiful. Well, thank you. Wow. It's so beyond the mind, a lot of times transcends me, it's just, how I explain that to others is like, it's sort of mythology beyond mythology that transcends the mind.
Because our limited mind holds us right here. And we think this is the universe that we're experiencing, and really has gone on in this tradition for millions and millions of years. And simultaneously, many thousands there's that wonderful story that many of you remember. I've read it, and we've read it many times during the Navratri about Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva going to the Mani Dweepa, and on the way, their sacred plane, their celestial plane stopped here or there, and it's another Brahma Loka, and Brahma looks and wonders who he is, if there's a Brahma right down there, and the same for Vishnu and Shiva, and they get finally the understanding that they're just a little piece of this bigger cosmos. So it's very, very, very beautiful too, because it helps me when I start getting, wrapped up in little me. It's like, wait a second, this is really much bigger. And I guess the other thing that helps me is that I get perturbed with somebody, I realize what that Mula mantra says. All I see is myself, meaning Mother saying that. Everything is the Divine Mother. So that person that I'm perceiving is perturbing me is really the divine acting out in a way to teach me probably a lesson, or I can learn a lesson. So it's very helpful. So anyways.
That mirror. Maybe that's what that mirror, in the Devi Puja, we let Mother see herself and she reflects it to us, One other, just because it's helpful to me, these little details. So remind me, so Shiva comes from Vishnu's eyebrow? Was that, did I hear that?
In this rendition.
Yeah. So it's just, what it did was the puzzle came together in a different way than it ever has for me. The creator, the spirit.
There's also many stories about how there's many stories in the Devi Bhagavatam. Maybe I'll choose one to read this time, where it explains how Brahma and Vishnu they're all one, and they're all under control of the Divine Mother, because there's a lot of times, particularly early on in the Devi, where people are saying, well, who's the most important God? And it's like, because you have, Vishnu honoring Shiva and Shiva honoring Brahma, and in fact, they're all meditating on the Divine Mother. So even this little excerpt showed the surprise of Brahma when he saw Vishnu meditating on something else.
So no more competition.
We're all one. There's
We're all one.
nothing to compete with.
Exactly. It's all the divine looking at the divine, right? The mother, she's in charge of all of us.
Okay, well, thank you all. So excited and happy that we read the whole Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. So
Jai Ma.